Hey there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is who am I? Who is this lady? Good luck with answering that one. I was thinking for a moment today about a saying I once received in one of the many metaphysical movies I've seen throughout my life, and they were talking about the statement, I am that I am. And most people say, I am that I am, like it's like a Shakespeare type statement, pinch me, I exist, these types of statements. But in the documentary, they were elucidating that there should be a comma in there, and it should be, I am that, comma, I am. And so I marinate on this a lot as I look upon the world. And it's just like, I am that I am, I am that I am. And how cute we all are, because sometimes I'm looking at my beautiful kitty cat or an amazing raven or any number of adorable, precious, cute things. I'm hanging out with a tree. Heather spends a lot of time in nature, can you tell? And so it's like, wow, I am that I am. I am this babbling brook. I am this amazing rainbow. Sometimes we're looking at things that are like, am I that though? I've experienced a good number of people with a developed narcissistic quality. Narcissistic personality disorder actually affects like 1 to 3% of the population. So most people don't have that. However, with the amount of attention we're putting on technology, look at me, we could say I'm doing that right now, although I'd rather be hiding, frankly. But I do this because it's part of my job. But with the amount of attention that people are putting on themselves in the modern age, narcissism has become fairly rampant. And when we become more narcissistic in our nature, we tend to think we're the center of the universe. Me, I, it's all about me. I do not relate to being narcissistic at all because I've always been very outward focused. I've always had a huge drive to serve. I've spent countless years of my life volunteering for a wide array of organizations. And I have tremendous empathy for all of creation and all of life. And I always just want to serve and I always want to give. And it actually comes up in a lot of my Akashic Records readings that, this one, meaning me, has a tendency to feel a duty towards humanity and has a tendency to overgive and has a difficulty knowing when to stop giving because she just likes giving. And so that's all, let me toot my own horn and pat myself on the back real quick. Woo woo. But those are all things that are true of me. Something can be complimentary and still be true of you without you being bombastic and arrogant, However, what I've been marinating on this past week is the number of kind of stronger, more narcissistic, more me, I, less, win-win, us, them, caring for the outer world type of personality, but more of a I'm the sun, you should all be staring at me type of personality. And that higher narcissistic personality has a tendency to not really take responsibility. So I've been with a lot of two-leggeds that don't take responsibility in relationship. They're very self-involved. They require a tremendous amount of attention. And although I have a lot of love to give, it has a bandwidth. I have a lot of things I want to put my attention on besides my beloved or besides my, friend or whatever. I have a lot of things I want to look at and study in this life. Being neurodivergent, I have a lot of special interests and I like to focus on them. But I've been really stewing on this narcissism component with Heather Feather. And I've just been sitting and like, hey, I am that I am. Like, hey, lady, like maybe you're a narcissist. Like, ouch, what? That doesn't sound like me. And I know the ego has a tendency to delude itself. And I know the ego has a tendency to be like, not me, you sucker. You know what I mean? Bye, Felicia. So I've really been like kind of sitting with like, in what ways am I that? And I feel like something that's been flushing up in my field a lot lately is that it's difficult. It is challenging for me to receive negative feedback from others. Like I only want to hear the good. And it's hard. It's like, I think about people like Bruce Lee. I think about the very disciplined. I love very disciplined souls. I have a lot of reverence and admiration for them. My brother-in-law, Braxton Love, was one of those people. He practiced martial arts for 25 years. He had a knowingness when it came to being willing to be disciplined. And I have so much respect for that, And so I've been thinking about this component of disciplining myself to be better able to receive negative feedback from others, because I'm not a huge fan of it. You know what I mean? When somebody, I always want to hear it. I love the truth. Don't get me wrong. I love the truth, and I will probe. And I always feel like if you're going to probe, you better be ready to receive whatever gets thrown your way. Get ready for a gut punch, because you might not hear what you want to hear, you know? And so, like, yeah, I feel like I want to better prepare myself to be unflappable, or to be somebody that is ever ready to take a gut punch, because I'm ever ready to hear whatever the divine will or the essence of the all that is would have me know. I kind of see myself as constantly only ever interacting with divinity. So I'm like, why does divinity have me? Why does divinity have me interact with so many self-absorbed people? Now, I've had a theory for quite some time that the reason is because I've been so outward focused throughout my life. I've been so outwardly devoted and outwardly attentional and outwardly adoring of the beloved and outward, that I've had more of a tendency to ignore the self or not be aware of the self. Like I've mentioned before, like sometimes I forget that I have a face, or that people notice if I'm there or not. Like I've been surrounded by so many ghosts in this life. I feel like a ghost, and I forget, like, no, you have a presence. And, you know, if I say I'm going to go to something and things change for me and I go, okay, I'm not going to go to that, and people are upset, I've never understood why. It's like, why would you be upset that I'm not going? Like, I'm a ghost. You're not even going to know if I'm there anyhow, you know? And I have to remind myself, like, no, you do have an influence, Heather. You do have a presence. I've had to really work in this life to, like, see my value and see that people enjoy my company and allow that to be true. And at the same time, the thing that I'm really working to review is to be aware of, where is my growth work? I'm always wanting to know, what is Heather Feather's growth work? And I got to say, if you're like, I want to pay attention to the words coming out of my mouth or the experience I'm receiving. I feel like divinity is constantly offering me a bite out of the apple of my own consciousness. And I really want to know why it is the flavor it is. And so why has so much of my life revolved around this? And forever I thought it was, well, it's because I'm ignoring myself, and a narcissist only thinks of themselves. So to the degree that I ignore the self, to the degree that I don't love the self, adore the self, pay attention to the self, I'm at, like, let's say a 0 to 10 on that out of a scale of 100. A narcissist is like at a 90 to 100 of paying attention to themselves. Maybe at 100, I don't know. Maybe always at 100. But they're really paying attention to themselves. You know, maybe they have these moments where they can be empathetic or think of others. And so I always thought it was like the yin and the yang of, like, I'm playing extreme opposite side of the coin. So divinity gives me these people that are on the other opposite extreme side of the coin, and has me really take a look at, like, hey, you're imbalanced with loving the self. You're imbalanced with putting attention on the self. Look at how much this person puts attention on the self, Heather. Like, let's evaluate. And that's still a strong possibility. But the reflecting point that I've had for the past week or so is, like, you know, like, maybe I'm a narcissist. Like, I do like to look good. I like to be well received. I don't mean like look physically good. I mean just be well received as somebody that has integrity, that is, you know, seen for who she believes herself to be. And it's interesting to try to reflect on something you don't want to look at, because my brain almost goes like brain scramble as soon as I try to. I'm like, am I? Brain scramble. But I do see how my life does now more than ever revolve around what's going to bring Heather her highest happiness. If you have ever watched Bashar on YouTube, he's amazing. I have a book that he illustrated about aliens. He's a cool guy, but Bashar always talks about following your highest happiness. So much of my life today does revolve around some of these teachers. Abraham Hicks is another one, of following my highest happiness. What is that, Heather? What is that? Well, I truly believe on some levels, part of that, because I'm so devoted to evolution, growth, and self-awareness, is to look at all the shadowy, rough edges that I don't want to look at, in order for me to be in holistic wellness, in order for me to experience the wholeness of the character that I am. I really want to reflect on, I sometimes reflect on what others do. It's like, I don't like the way that person handled that other person's suicidal ideation. I feel like it was really selfish and self-centered and narcissistic, and it upset me, but it's like, why, there's something in this where there's a topic of suicidal ideation and narcissism. And it's like, I've had a lot of depression and suicidal ideation historically. I haven't really in this past decade of my life, but historically. And suicidal ideation can be pretty narcissistic. I'm gonna die. I'm just like, I can't take it, and I've had lovers and dear people that I love that have committed suicide. I don't hold that topic the way a lot of humanity does. I don't think there's any difference between a car accident or a suicide or a murder. Exiting is exiting, and we're eternal. I don't think if God were that judgmental as God is often portrayed, God would have given us free will. What would be the point of free will? God would just be like, be good, I made you good, go be good. You know what I mean? Like, if God wanted a certain way, God could have certainly made it that way. And instead, we are given free will. Entertaining. Well done. Well done, Spirit. So, neither here nor there, I digress, but there's a component of the layers of depression I've had in this life. And when I've been very deeply depressed or in severe suicidal ideation, there's a component of self-absorption in that. I'm mired in the inner. One of the things my sister taught me through the many years of experience she's had with me having depression is, she told me ages ago, like two decades ago, maybe more, I was super depressed, and she said, volunteer. She said, the breakdown, Heather, with your depression is the depression is a completely inward process, and you're in your thoughts, and you're in yourself, and you're in your house, and you're in, hiding, in there, digging in. She said, what you need to do is get out of yourself. You need to get outward. You need to volunteer. You need to give. You need to offer. You need to extend. And as you help others, and as you lift their hearts, your own heart will get lifted, and you will be given opportunity to recognize the magnitude of your value. Look at this life I made a difference in. And so she was a huge inspiration to much of the volunteer work that I've done in this life, because I was like, she's 100% right. Like, I am having a deeply inward process, and it is very much about myself. It's about me in relationship to XYZ. But I'm the core central theme that is causing the depression. It's me stewing in my own life, and it may be even about me stewing in the way people treat me, but that's ultimately about me. You know what I mean? So again, no judgment on that. Don't mishear Heather Feather. I have tremendous empathy for those that struggle with depression and suicidal ideation, and I think it's one of the greater challenges that can be faced in the modern age, is just wanting to be here. So don't mishear me. However, it is, two things can be true at once. We can have empathy for something and care about something and understand it and have been there and walked in those shoes ourselves. And it still can be a very self-absorbed process that we're going through. So something to kind of chew on. But that's the fruit that I've been trying to kind of chew on this week, is like, what are the qualities I really don't like? And there's been videos I've done recently on this, like being self-entitled. I don't like that quality. Okay, well, how am I self-entitled? Well, I'm really self-entitled when it comes to driving. I feel like others should engage a certain way with me, and they can do whatever they want. They have free will. And so what I don't want to do is drive and have lack of peace, because people are going to do whatever they want to do. So that's why I'm looking at it. That's why I'm evaluating. What I don't want to do is be self-absorbed, myopic, and narcissistic and bombastic in a relationship. So in order for me to make sure that's not occurring, I can ask lovers, friends, family members, do you experience me this way? How often do you experience me? How does that show up? We can quiz others to kind of get, like, please tell me the truth. I'm trying to grow and evolve. I'll get ready for a gut punch. Let's go. But we can ask others, but we can self-evaluate. Are there any qualities that you feel are just terrible? And have you ever really taken time to stew and consider, especially any quality you really reject being part and parcel of your being, that you've really taken time to stew in? Is there any way that this shows up for me? And would you like to make any change to that today? You can always go to rarebirdmedicine.com and click on the classes link. We do have an upcoming class called Be Magical, which is going to be amazing. Please join us. And you can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. I always love to hear your thoughts. I'm Moon.